I am here in Austria on the Swiss border with my close friend Christine. Hello. This is Christine Linz. She is going to tell you more about her background, but I just want to show the beautiful landscapes that we have here in the background in Feldkirch.
Yeah.
So, Christine, tell me, where are you from, first of all? Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Germany, but my mom, she's Swiss. So I'm German and Swiss, and now I live in Austria.
And so, what's your background? Professional background.
Professional background. I did physical therapy school after graduating. So that was 3 years of physical therapy school. And then I worked as physical therapist, but I also did some other jobs, just life experiencing jobs, like working on a sailing cruise vessel.
That's pretty
So that
cool.
was one of the best experiences, actually.
Oh, in what sense?
Life experience, because
Yeah.
it's so special and
A lot of hard work.
It's hard work, and it's a special environment because you're like kind of trapped
Yes.
with the same people all the time.
Exactly,
So
yeah.
it's on a very limited space.
In multiple ways.
Yeah.
People-wise. It was a pretty small crew, no?
Yeah, 60.
60, so yeah.
60 crew, 60 passenger.
So you have to not only deal with personal dynamics, also with like how to cope, how to handle different tasks work-wise, and
yeah.
very physical.
Physical. The job was physical, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. But that was like not difficult for me. I liked it. Challenging thing was just because there were different nationalities with different backgrounds. So that was like all together in that small room, and no one could just, if you had a fight or a disagreement with someone, you just had to find a solution
Yeah.
because there was no way out.
And how much space did you have there?
Just a bench
Whoa.
with a curtain.
Wow.
That's all the privacy you had.
That's really.
So that's that
And what
was-
about the entire ship, or?
the entire ship? It's 110 meters long.
Yeah, that's not much.
No,
Yeah.
and it was built in 1932. So it's like back then when I was there. Now it has changed, but back then it was still like the original layout of the crew area. So we were all together in 2 areas.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely going to teach you a lot of things.
Yeah.
And how long was it you did that?
1.5 years in total, with breaks in between. But yeah, the longest
Okay.
contract that was 10 months. And then I moved to Zurich actually to work, to find a job and work as physical therapist. And I did that from 2004 to 2008.
Okay.
And then I decided to become self-employed. And it was the easiest to become self-employed as massage therapist, because then you were not attached to the health insurances.
Okay.
So I was free.
Okay.
So I'm a physical therapist, and so I could do whatever I wanted to do in that massage. It just had the label massage. So I had 1 hour treatments, which I wanted to, because the regular physical therapy treatments were about 20 minutes or 30 minutes, and that's just not enough time.
I feel like that's never enough. Yeah.
So what is your professional background?
So my professional background is complex and has diverged into a multitude of different things that kind of all tie together from my point of view. I did a master's degree, moved to New York, and started working for a food company. And that was really how I got into holistic healing and wellness. My degree was in economics. And then, just because of selling health, it was organic food products, all natural food products. And so the customer base I had would include mostly natural health food stores, or either that or high-end gourmet stores that we would sell our products to. So I really wanted to know about the foods. Emphasis was on clean foods, high-end, high quality. So I wanted to know what I'm selling, really. And that's how my interest just got deeper, and I decided to do a short program of 1 year of holistic health coaching, is what it was called. And that's how my practice started out in 2012 as holistic health coaching, mostly for nutrition and fitness, or different types of holistically still. So you would look at all the components of your life and divide it kind of up into a pie chart type circle. That's called the circle of life. That includes all parts of your life. So mind, body, soul, heart would be the main categories, and then within those you have subcategories like relationships and joy. And so over the years, I would say my practice has evolved, and that's what I think is interesting for us to talk about, because you've had something similar where you've started to feel like you want to.
And like what I said earlier, like one reason for me to become self-employed as massage therapist was because of I wanted to be free of the health insurances, but it was also because my understanding of healing was different than the ordinary, regular understanding for physical therapists. They treat basically just one part, like the wounded part.
Exactly.
Like the hip, or it's just the hip and the knee and the whatever it is. And I always felt it doesn't feel right for me, because there's more. It's not just the knee, it's like the whole body. There's
what
a
caused?
human attached to it.
Yeah.
So,
And what was the cause, right?
yeah, exactly.
And
So,
that's like the same, just to interject real quick, is the same as the medical system versus holistic healing. Is the idea is you don't just address the symptoms when the person is sick. You come in before that and you find the root cause, and then you prevent the further problems.
You don't. Yeah, exactly. I thought I don't want to treat symptoms, because they're gonna keep coming back or getting worse if you don't find the root. So that's also like a reason for me. So I wanted to be self-employed, like to be free to do what I felt was right. And also spirituality and mediumship, that somehow it was always there in my life. And over the years I developed my skills more and more. So, and I try to kind of combine the physical work with the spiritual work and mediumship.
Yes. And I've had a very similar experience. I think the main difference between us is that your starting point was more on the physical side of massage and physical therapy, whereas mine was more nutrition, fitness, body, but not from,
As
know.
a therapist.
I wouldn't know much about
The body,
the joints or the muscles
anatomy.
or exactly those things back then. I think we should delve deeper into what we would ideally see the future within this field that doesn't necessarily exist now. And I think one of the main parts about that is that it's healthy for every individual to be working with these things before they have even any problems. To work with a person, or we're in a car driving crossing the border from between Austria and Liechtenstein and then Switzerland. So it's a cool little journey here with mountains in the background, beautiful landscapes. Yeah, it's gorgeous here. So where were we here?
I was going to ask you, so what is your vision concerning your work? So what do you want to do?
Yeah, I have evolved a lot with my work, and now what I do with clients is that first, before anything else, I have an introductory session with my client, and we'll go over Circle of Life format and check in with the client to see what their needs are. Because historically, I used to have mostly clients who were looking for weight loss advice or nutritional advice, fitness advice, which is one component that relates back to all the others, like we talked about before. But now I also do deeper types of healing that are more tied to perhaps some emotional trauma or some deeper seated personality. If someone's struggling with a certain type of problem in their life, if they've gone through some event, sometimes they're not even consciously aware of that, because a lot of what we do, our actions are based in the subconscious. They are derived from there. So when that tends to happen, it gets expressed somewhere in the body. So it could be like Christine has worked a lot with body and physical issues, like she was saying before, but the same goes both ways. So everything gets expressed somewhere. You're never going to be able to suppress a problem. The mind, the body, they are connected. They're not separate parts. Like medicine, often the medical field often tends to make us want to think, which is not the case.
Yes.
It's all
I
holistic.
agree.
We are one being. You have a negative thought, it gets expressed. If you don't think about it or address the emotions of it, it will somehow be expressed in your body.
Yeah.
It could be a
It's energy.
backache. Yeah, and usually it becomes a chronic thing where you start to have patterns of pain in your shoulder, for example, and then it keeps coming back, and your shoulder is where you get tense, for example, if that gets connected to a certain emotion, and then you have emotional triggers. So these are really what I want to dig into more. That's my vision, to like work with people on where is the pain expressed, where is the issue expressed, and again back to like root causes. And yeah, Christine, what about your vision?
So currently I still work with massage, but I call it like intuitive massage or energy work massage. So where I combine this physical work with spiritual work.
Yeah.
And I want to, in the long run, I don't want to work with massage anymore. Because I think it's just a tool that I use, but I don't need it anymore. I used to need it before as an approach to the person, to the
Yeah.
client.
As a channel to get to also
Yeah.
where you're now,
Exactly.
right?
And so I want to work with clients who somehow stuck in their life situation, that they feel like they don't know where to go and what to do. They feel like they don't know what their talents are and abilities. So kind of I want to help them to discover themselves and discover their worthiness and their beauty,
Yeah.
and so
Their purpose.
exactly. And I want to make them feel that whatever they decide to do, that it's okay.
Yeah.
So there won't be judgment.
And that is a lot of times the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't want to tell them you have to do this and that, because that is you and that's the right path for you to go. No, they have to figure it out themselves.
Exactly.
I just want to guide them.
Yes. And the interesting thing is that I've had very similar types of thoughts, and one thing we both talked about was to like really accompany the client, I think.
Closely.
Yeah, closely, because sometimes that's what's required, because otherwise you won't be able to help them. So my standard approach used to be to work with a client every 2 weeks in 1 hour long sessions or something like that, and then follow up every 2 weeks for 6 months at least. But many of my clients have extended for longer. Sometimes a deeper approach is required, sometimes it's not. Sometimes the client can pick up, and it will usually be a lifelong like lesson that they learn through the 6-month program. But there are times when there's a deeper issue and they really need as much assistance as possible. And this is a thing that I don't think I've thought of a quite clear solution to yet. Because if you're with the person 24/7, which sometimes would be necessary or helpful at least, then, right? How does that actually work? So I think there's a way to make it work and without it being too expensive. And also a lot of the times, paradoxically, the people who might need the help the most can't afford these types of programs. So
and it's important that it needs to be affordable.
I 100% agree, and these are often way too expensive, or if they're cheaper, then the quality of the service might not be as good.
Yeah.
And so that's what we want to avoid, really.
Yeah, right. It's important to me that they don't get dependent on me.
How do you envision that happening?
Because I want them to feel that all the changes they make, they made them. It's not me.
Yes.
I just
You support, yeah.
I supported them, and I told them, yeah, go for it. Why don't you try? And like a coach,
Yeah.
or guide. But they need to feel that they made it.
Yes.
And I think
Yeah.
That's important.
Even when you get to that point, they may know that and they may discover that, but they need the support to be able to stick to it. And that's where the sort of 24/7 approach or support becomes necessary for you to kind of keep them on track until they are able to fly
Yeah.
on their own,
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Stable enough to.
Yes, in what they're doing.
Yeah.
And you could probably less and less over time be there. But the whole point is that sometimes the starting point needs to be the 24/7 almost. So it could taper off every, whichever interval is convenient for the client. And I think that's one thing for me, that no client is the same. So
Yeah.
the most important part about this healing that I do is to really intuitively feel out what these clients' needs are and what their goals are and where they want to be.
Yeah.
Same as like what you were talking about.
Yeah, and treat them individually.
Yes, individual,
However they need.
tailor-made.
Yeah.
Completely tailor-made their needs. Next thing we wanted to discuss
Is
was
what makes us unique.
yeah.
So
what
why
makes
should
why-
people come and see us and do therapy with us?
Yes. And do you want to start?
What I'm good at is that I'm a good listener, and I catch up. I do get the context really quickly, and see like everything. It's like a map that is just there.
Yes.
So I know what's going on in the background of that person, and it happens everything really quickly.
Yeah.
And the way I talk to clients, maybe I don't talk that much, but it's very clear.
Yeah.
So clarity is one of my strengths too, and that I don't judge, so that I've asked some of my older clients and my friends
feedback, yeah.
for feedback, and that's what I got. That they felt really comfortable with me, and they really knew that they could tell me anything.
Yeah.
Because they knew I wouldn't judge.
Yeah.
So, and I would just listen and take it as it is, and then we just find a way to solve it and to how to proceed.
Yeah.
So I think that's also one of my strengths. So,
For sure. Yeah.
and then I think I also do a lot of healing through words, and just I don't know. I've made the experience in just my appearance or my
Presence.
presence.
Yeah. Energy.
Energy is already healing.
presence.
too,
Right. Yeah.
because
Exactly.
people feel comfortable
Yes.
and they open up and but words and to bring clarity into weird situations,
Or like maybe their
woven-
thoughts seem messy to them. But then,
because they're stuck inside that
Yeah.
situation, and then you
Yeah.
don't get the eagle eye view of it,
exactly.
which I have.
Yeah.
And then I can kind of loosen that knot up so that they can
Yeah.
have a clearer view on what's really going on.
Like it always is, because when you're zoomed out and you watch something from the outside, you won't be inside the knot, and
Yeah.
you will see things that they don't see,
Yeah.
and it's like a fresh set of eyes to
Yeah.
the situation. I share some things in common with you for sure, such as people feeling comfortable, usually opening up and
Yeah.
trusting me, and feeling like I have the competency to help them, I think. But I think one thing I think is really important to say also is that I think we all need healing. We all need someone like this in our lives to support us. It's very important, if I take healing clients, that I am whole at the moment when I do that. So if I am not quite whole, or if I have a big issue that's interfering with my own life in such a big way that I can't heal somebody else, then I would not take on a client.
Yeah.
But I think my main strengths lie in being very adamant and great at encouraging people to follow through with these things that we then extract from. I think I'm good at extracting and mapping out, same as where maybe they say this is the problem, and then I think I'm really good at seeing what the root cause and tracking it, tracing it down, and finding the right path also to tracing it down,
Yeah.
and then to make sure that they keep doing what they actually want to be doing to achieve their purpose once they discover it. So it's, sometimes they would come to me with one thing, but then we discover that it's actually something else, and then it needs to be worked on, and to while listening and supporting. Also, I think my strength is to be their energy booster and to really be like positive, energized support and excited about their passion.